welcome back. And if it's your first time here, welcome in general. The Wicker Man. One of, and people say these things, but this is genuinely true, one of my favourite horror films of all time. My top three, in no particular order: The Wicker Man, Blood and Satan's Claw, The Devil Rides Out. Top three. All British within a, 6 year period? So, last year was it? Imprint released a box set, three Blu-ray sets, rather expensive, as is their wont down under, which essentially was just a collation of the Blu-rays of the Studio Canal set with a little bit of extra stuff, but put into a rather spiffy new box. And I skipped it, and I thought, oh, that is one of my favourite films though. Should I splurge? And I'm really glad I held out because I love Studio Canal when they go to town on things. When they've done their Ealing movies, those lovely editions of The Lady Killers, and what they've done Total Recall, they've done The Deer Hunter, they've done so many films with just gorgeous sets, brilliant restorations. But this is the one where, oh, I knew I was going to have to beg, steal, or borrow, or just buy when it came out. So it came at a rather odd time. I was saying to my good buddy film blogger Sam, it's not his real name, but well, Sam is, but film blogger's not what he was christened as. I was saying to him, I had tracking for it last night that said it could still come up to 10 o'clock. And normally that means if it's not here by 8, you're just going to get another one saying, sorry we missed you, we'll see you tomorrow. But it did come at about 5 to 10. I've never had that before. So it came about 5 to 10, and I watched one version. And then I went on to talk to a few people through the night and blah, 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 blah. And then I did sleep for a bit. I do that once a year. So this morning, as I speak, I've had a chance to check out the extras and dip into the other versions. I've not watched the other versions in full because, come on. But here we go. So first of all, let's have a look at the set itself. So gorgeous, gorgeous new artwork. I really love that. It's just terrific folk horror genius stuff. And then it's not a slip cover like the other ones. It's an actual box because it does open up to reveal a pop-up, which is again rather nice. You'll simply never understand the nature of true sacrifice. I love that. That's so nice. It is time to keep your appointment with the Wicker Man. That's not an Edward Woodward impression. And then you get some rather fun extras. I believe these have been sent out as promotional things. The Wicker Man candles. Because I saw Kim Newman was posting them. And then you get, I don't normally do the more unboxing type of stuff, but again, when it's one of your favourites, it's always worthwhile. You get one sheet, like an old quad, and this is just the, don't need to open that up, it's just the new artwork. And then I saw somebody, clearly a massive fan, post this review of it earlier on, and said I love this film, and when they came to pronounce the name of the place, Summerisle. Yeah, Summerisle. So greetings from Summerisle. They'll never let you leave. I don't know. That's a bit corny. Yeah, I like that. That's more like it. It's more traditional lobby card like. As is that with Lord Summerisle himself. I always associate that inner cover with the old VHS, or that inner picture rather. Alright, so down to that's the garnish, but let's get to the meat and potatoes. So here's your booklet, which, so you get full cast. Of course, some of the cast are not famous actors, but they're well kent faces. I mean, there are obviously famous actors in here. Britt Eklund, of course, Ingrid Pitt. I mean, obviously, your two leads are very famous. I mean, Chris Lee was obviously major horror star at the time, and Edward Woodward was coming off of Callan and things just a couple of years earlier. But Dan Salento is Miss Rose, and right down to gosh, the barman is played by he was a famous dancer at the time, wasn't he? You get an introduction by Dominic and Justin Hardy, who are Robin Hardy's boys. They're pretty old themselves. I mean, I mean, this is just quintessential folk horror for me. As much as So Is Blood and Satan's Claw, this speaks in a different way, because I think it's got more of a satirical aspect to it, where Lord Summerisle's participating in these ceremonies to bring on a new harvest, you know, even to the extent of sacrificing Sergeant Howie, but I don't think he believes it himself. And I like that it's left ambiguous, but he's almost buying himself more time, because the people on the island have been convinced through their upbringing and through the old ways that if they offer up a sacrifice, their harvests will show the rewards of that sacrifice. And he's the lord of the manor, as it were, literally. So if this one doesn't work, it could well be his head on the block next time. If I was Lord Summerisle, I'd just be getting out there. I'd sell. There'll be some Sasnak willing to give you good money for that land. Just beat it. Don't worry about how the crops fare. So yeah, I mean, this film I feel like is one of the most famous to old school horror hounds, and yet I swear to God it came up in work about 6 months. No, in fact, it probably was longer than that. Can't scroll that page. Faulty titties. And when somebody mentioned The Wicker Man, somebody else said, "Oh, I don't like that Nicolas Cage movie," and they weren't being facetious. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure to anybody watching this, you'll obviously associate it with this version, and there's the original campaign book. But I don't know. Sometimes when you live in your own bubble, it's hard to imagine not knowing things like this. This to me is 101 stuff, but I do wonder how famous it now is to a new generation. So that's lovely stuff. Right, so, and then the package itself with the discs in it. So you get 5 disc sets. So you get the final cut, Robin Hardy's version with special features, director's cut, theatrical cut with special features, and then you get the same again on Blu-ray. So you get the 3 versions on 4K, the 3 versions on Blu-ray, and then you get a bit of an odd one, Katie J. Pearson and Friends. So songs from The Wicker Man, they do songs that you know from the film. Summer is a coming, you know that bit, but they are new interpretations. I don't quite understand why that needed to be done. I mean, it's fine, but it does feel a bit like I guess the original rights to the proper soundtrack weren't on the agenda, and they had to do this. I would personally not have bothered. I mean, the original soundtrack is so wonderful, so memorable, so esoteric, unusual, that I wouldn't personally have substituted it for cover of the album. But for what it is, the versions on that by Katie Pearson and Friends are nice, they're good, they're reverential in places, they are fresh, but they're not the Wicker Man soundtrack. I don't really know what the thought process is, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, that's a look at the set itself. I mean, in terms of the restoration, I have seen a couple of people who were at screenings of it when it was in the cinema be quite disappointed that it did look not top quality when they saw it. But to me, that's just part and parcel of the elements, because you're getting the different versions, and it was very much a reassembly job. The elements just, we're lucky to have as much as we do. I mean, we know there's still stuff out there that's underneath some motorway somewhere where the tapes were buried. So to have as much as we do that Robin Hardy could go back and assemble this with is pretty miraculous. So yeah, it's not reference quality stuff, but I recently, about a month ago, did a short video on the Bruce Lee box set. That's top quality. I don't think I didn't do a separate one for the Enter the Dragon 4K. That's really bad. That is really bad quality stuff. Real low quality with dull colours that used to pop even on DVD and Blu-ray. So there's no excuse for them being faded on 4K. So that's an example of, hey, this is just a shoddy job. Warner's have just not done anything with this, whereas Studio Canal have done the best possible job here. So it's not reference quality, but that's down to the elements. It's not down to a lack of care and just turning it into products and getting it to market. It looks amazing in places. It looks vibrant, it looks fresh, it looks clean. Some of it looks as if, especially the real filmic parts, when it's out and about, looks as if it was filmed yesterday. When Howie approaches the island, Summer Isle, not even filmed in an island, but when Howie approaches the island, just looks amazing. It looks like a documentary from this week. Stunning stuff. And some of the night scenes are where it looks a bit shoddier, but even then, it's only because looking for it, knowing the film. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's, for what it is, it's a 10 out of 10 job. Just in terms of overall quality compared to the 4Ks in the market, it's probably closer to a 7 or 8. But when the film's a 10 and you know that they can't possibly have the best materials anyway, to hell with it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's terribly much to say about the Wicker Man apart from just going through what this set is. And do you hear that? It's like Easy Rider right there. Get your motor running, heading on the highway. That's not a highway. That's not a motorway out there. It's just Byers Road. It's just a main road in the anyway. Teen Rebels. So yeah, there's just not much to say apart from going through the extras and whatnot, and a lot of the stuff that's been added here doesn't add a lot. I mean, I don't want to appear ungrateful, but the Wicker Man at 50 documentary doesn't add a lot. It really just extends the stories that you already know if you're a Wicker Man fan. I like the part going into Robin Hardy's lost script. That's quite interesting. It's nothing that fans don't already know, but it's probably nice to have it as a short video essay piece. The location filming revisit, pretty fun. Again, I've seen things like that before on discs, so it's not radical, it's not terribly new. I've been up where they filmed some of it, and it's quite weird. This old man's pub, but they have pictures of Edward Woodward that were developed in the 70s still on the wall, because nothing has happened in these small places ever since. But it was filmed right at the north of Scotland, and then down in Dumfries and kind of various places. It wasn't filmed just in one place at all. The new interview with Britt Eklund was quite interesting. She's quite forthright that she was cast for different assets other than their acting ability. And then you obviously carry over a lot. The Robin Hardy interview, I mean, he's not going to be doing any new ones, is he? The Christopher Lee with Robin Hardy 70s interview, where Christopher Lee's already saying it's his favourite film as early as the late 70s, something that he stuck to saying for most of his career. Between that and he would say Jinnah for his favourite performance, and then you get the commentary with on the director's cut for Christopher Lee, Edward Woodward and Robin Hardy, moderated by Mark Kermode. That's been carried over, so it ports over a lot, if not all, of what you'd want because it even does a making of for the commentary on the disc. It's always been a film that's been very well represented in physical media, and this just adds to it. So, although nothing that's added here is revelatory and life changing for fans, you pretty much know what it is, but it's just good to have it documented in one place to add a little bit more. That's all you can really ask at this point. If 4K isn't a major upgrade on Blu-ray but just the natural extension, then so are the extras. The extras are just a natural extension, a complement to what was existing already. So yeah, I mean, again, it's a 10 out of 10 package, objectively. It really is. But, you know, just what's new suffers because we've always had it treated really well. It's not as if it was ever a vanilla Blu-ray or vanilla DVD. It had a great 2-disc DVD back in the day. Just the EP, the addition of the EP is the most baffling thing for me. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it will replace the original when anybody's listening, and I can't see myself listening to it again, to be honest. I really can't. Sorry, Katie J. Pearson, but a quick word for the spiritual sequel, as it was called, The Wicker Tree. I thought that was quite a fascinating film that came out in 2011. It takes a lot of the themes of this and expands upon them. Christopher Lee has a cameo in it, and it's obviously called The Wicker Tree, and it's directed by Robin Hardy, but it's an interesting film for what it is, even without those relations. It's an interesting film, so I'd recommend that. Again, it's not going to replace The Wicker Man in your estimation, but nowhere near it. But believe me, it's better than Nicolas Cage getting stung by bees. But not as good as Nicolas Cage punching a woman dressed as a bear. And the performances across the board are fantastic. Edward Woodward's Scottish accent is impeccable. Being Scottish, you're very used to hearing not great accents on screen. Edward Woodward's is stunning. Christopher Lee's accent works perfectly because he's not doing a Scottish accent, which goes perfectly with the gentry. They often do have English accents because they've been educated in England, and they're taught to speak with that, silver spoon up their arse approach. So it works perfectly that Lord Summerisle sounds English even though he's supposed to be a Scottish laird. That's perfectly normal. But yeah, Howie is just a wonderful leading man performance from Edward Woodward's. He is our eyes, he's our conscience, he's our morality. All the strange stuff that's going on this island, he's the one that has the temerity to say, this is not bloody right, you people are weird. And I'm the law, and I'm here to tell you this is bloody not on. If only he'd went to bed with Britt Ekland though. Not just for his own benefit, but actually, no, pretty much for his own benefit, because it really would have spared him that ending, wouldn't it? Oh well, the film works better with him. It wouldn't be much of an end. What was their plan B? If Howie slept with Brett Eklund, what was their plan B? Anyway, so yeah, this is just absolute masterpiece. One of my, as I say, top 3 films in the horror genre of all time, and what a presentation from Studio Canal, just breathtakingly good. So I'm going to give it a few weeks and then watch the other cuts. The one I watched is my favourite version, the director's cut. I think the final cut adds a little bit too much and kills the pace a little bit, whereas the director's cut adds enough in that it extends the themes you want to extend, but it doesn't add too much. It doesn't feel like you're missing something. Whereas, I mean, I think the best addition is the scene of the young boy being taken by Lord Summerisle because he's coming of age. He has to now sleep with the most luscious young woman on the island, just as a one-off. It's your rite of passage. It kind of shows that old way of the island, that they're not like us. And Summerisle's doing that in private with the boy. He's not doing it as a ceremony or anything. So it shows that there is an element that really does believe in this old school tradition. As much as I do think personally that Summerisle's bullshit, and I think he is just buying time for himself. I don't think he believes that this is going to help the harvest in any way, shape, or form. And there's even some great filmmaking in that part too, with showing you insects going at it, kind of to contrast, that it's just human nature. We're all animals in the end. Anthony Schafer's soundtrack is phenomenal. His script is phenomenal too. He wrote Sleuth and things, but he's got wonderful ear for rural dialogue, for the way that people interact with each other, even in the face of being weird. They're still real people. They're not caricatures of islanders. It's not like, I hate it when you see yokels in films, especially in British films where they're very much, these Somerset accents mean they must be an idiot. It never treats these characters as anything less than realistic. There's a very documentary-like feel to it, which I just absolutely adore. This is obviously 4K, so it's region free in 4K. The Blu-ray itself is region locked though. I double checked that, so it is region locked. If you are in America, it's being released by Lionsgate, but as I understand it, it's not going to have extras. So don't even think about it. Don't think twice. Get this edition. I don't know if it's out yet, but there is a slimmed down one coming at least, which just has the discs. It doesn't have the paraphernalia. So, although, kidding me, I got an edition that did have that included without having to buy it separately. Oh wow. Folks, thanks very much. Just a quickie today. Well, no, it's not been quick at all. What am I talking about? But you away and have your lunch, and if I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the window. Ciao for now.